Hello and welcome back to the program The Power of Thought. Our today's episode is Understanding the Mind, and my speaker, just as the previous time, is Sister Mira. Welcome, Sister Mira, to this episode.
Thank you.
Today we are going to talk about the mind. And I think if we offer people to choose the word that is most frequently used in today's language, well, maybe this word mind will not be the first one, but it will definitely be one of the most frequently used. People say, my mind is disturbed, something happens in my mind, and my mind is mischievous, my mind is I cannot control my mind, and so on. And in order to answer their question of how they can control their mind, I think we first of all have to understand what the mind is. So can you give us a very short definition of what is our mind?
I think before understanding what is mind, it's good to understand where is the mind. Because I often see people talking about their mind, something which is separate from them, and that's why we find people blaming the mind. My mind is mischievous, but I want to be peaceful.
Yeah, that's true.
So, where is the mind? Is it in the brain? Or is it in the heart? Where is it? That is something I think we need to know, because this is a secret. Once if this is understood, then they are able to understand what is mind.
So Didi, if you don't mind, tell us where the mind is.
Okay. See, we use the word I and mine very often in our life. Whenever we introduce ourselves, like my name is so and so. So who is saying my mind? I am saying. So who am I? Definitely I am something separate from this body, not physical. It's a metaphysical energy, a living energy. Some people call it consciousness, mind, soul. Many names are given. Whatever name you are given, it's okay, but it's a metaphysical energy, and it is made up of three faculties. Just like our body is made up of different organs and different systems, so the consciousness is divided into three faculties: the mind, the intellect, and subconscious mind. Conscious mind, intellect, subconscious mind. So now, what is mind? Mind is thoughts, desires, emotions, feelings. So, as we were talking the other day, thinking is my choice. Thoughts are inevitable. So, there are constant thoughts that is coming in my mind. So, I have a choice to think whether I should take it up or not. So, the second faculty of the consciousness or the soul is the intellect. So, intellect is the power of thought, but it is the power of judgment. So, it judges the thoughts that comes in the mind, whether it is right or wrong, and then decides. And then subconscious mind is the power of action. So we act according to the thoughts that we decide, and it is recorded within me in the form of subconscious mind. So these three things work together. A thought comes in my mind, and as is my thought, so will be my feelings. And so then my intellect judges the thought, then I put it into action. Now, what is happening most of the time is we are not aware as to who I am really. Most of the time we identify ourselves as this human structure, And so in that awareness, my mind play mischief. It's not under my control. And that is why I just act according to whatever I feel immediately without even thinking of the results.
So you mean it's happening because of my wrong understanding, wrong awareness, wrong understanding of the self?
Yes. There are two types of self. One is true self and the other is false self. So when I identify myself as this body, that is the false self, because it is not permanent, it's temporary. The energy, the life force, which we call it as the soul, is the real self because it exists forever. Energy exists forever. And so when I'm aware of myself as that soul energy, the three faculties works together in harmony. So let me give you an example. See, mind is like a horse. Its nature is to run wildly. And intellect is like a horse rider.
Okay.
When the horse rider is sitting on the horse, he should be able to control the horse. But here it is not happening. The horse is riding instead of the horse rider riding the horse. So tell me, what is missing there? And that is what is missing in our life. The reins. If the horse rider is holding the reins in his hand, he can control the horse. So the self-awareness, the true awareness of the self is very important in our life to keep my mind under my control. That I am a soul. So when I have that awareness of myself as a soul, the three faculties come together. So I can use my mind the way I want to use. I can take my horse wherever I want to take.
Can you give some practical example of that? Because suppose I was coming for this program just recently and I knew I had to come on time. But then my bus breaks and I have to wait, and it doesn't depend on me entirely. So as far as I understand now, the thoughts, they arise in my mind, and those thoughts are very, I will not say negative, but they are peaceless because I have to reach on time and I can't do anything in this situation. So what happens? So my mind is my horse, and my intellect is the horse rider. So what should this horse rider do to change the direction of my thoughts?
Horse rider cannot do anything.
No.
But first of all, he has to hold the rein in his hand.
Yeah, but how? I'm just sitting there on the bus and they can't do anything.
So you need to have this practice as a way of life, not at that time.
Okay.
But if I have a normal, natural practice of being aware of who I am at all times with practice, so at such a situation, I am able to become aware of myself, who I am, so the reins of the horse in my hands. So then I direct my mind, okay, this is a real situation. You cannot do anything, accept it. I will have a dialogue with my mind.
Can you tell us about this dialogue?
Dialogue means I will talk to my mind, look, there is no point you raising high, thinking too much at this time. It's not in your hand. So be calm. We will reach at the right time according to whatever time I have to reach. So I am able to teach my mind through dialogue, not by suppression. In some situation like parents, if the children are behaving badly, they will try to suppress them, saying, keep quiet. They will just be quiet. That is suppression. If I train my mind through suppression in that way, it's not healthy. So what I would prefer is dialogue, when the mind is not cooperating with me, it's not allowing me to do what I want. So I will have to dialogue, give some time, have a dialogue, and then mind and intellect work together. That's very important. Mind alone cannot do anything. It needs the cooperation of the intellect, the power of judgment.
I try to stop the thoughts sometimes and to make my mind blank, but the experience says that after that period of a few seconds or maybe minutes, all those the thoughts that I would like to forget or to stop, they come back.
Because see, there is a reservoir of thought. Don't forget that. Subconscious mind is a reservoir of thoughts. So it will appear on the screen of your mind. Mind is like a screen. So when you are exposed to something, you see something, you hear something, the reservoir is activated. So the power of thoughts will emerge because there is a reservoir of thought. And how this reservoir of thought is created is on the basis of the power of action. All the actions that I've been performing in my lifetime, it's being recorded and put it in the subconscious mind as a memory bank. So my memory is activated the moment my external eyes see something. So it will come. But what I would suggest is you should keep your intellect awake. To control the mind, my intellect has to be awakened. Today we call ourselves as intelligent people, but our intellect is sleeping. And that is why we are most of the time emotional. You know, many people are very sentimental, emotional, they can cry very fast, they can shout, get angry very fast, but then immediately after that, they begin to regret because the intellect is not awake. So the mind is suppressing the intellect.
I see.
In order not to suppress my mind, I need to keep my intellect awake. And when will my intellect be awakened? When I have the true self-awareness. So when I am aware of myself as a soul, my intellect is awakened, my power of judgment works properly to choose what thoughts I need at that time and discard the rest of them.
That's a good thing that you mentioned about constantly practicing this, that it's not a matter of practicing when the situation comes.
No, yeah.
But it should be done on a regular basis.
Yes, yeah.
But then the question is that this soul, which is metaphysical and eternal, it is not visible.
Yeah.
So if I want to practice this stage of soul consciousness, reminding myself that I'm a soul, I find it challenging because I can't see, I can't touch, I can't feel this soul through my sense organs. So it's not easy to keep it in my awareness all the time that I am what I can't see, and that I'm not this body which I can see and touch and experience very well.
You can catch the presence of the soul through your feelings.
Okay.
Like for example, now you are sitting here, you get a phone call and somebody gives you the news, so-and-so has died. So immediately your feelings are changed.
Yeah.
You start to feel sorrow. So who feels the sorrow? It's not my eyes or my face, or it's the soul who feels the sorrow.
Okay.
Like say you are cutting vegetable. The knife, instead of going on the vegetable, it comes on your finger. Immediately you feel the pain. You say, oh, my finger is cut, but I have the pain.
Okay.
So I feel the pain even though the finger is cut. So through feeling, sometimes happy, sometimes pleasure, sometimes peaceless. So this feelings comes in the soul, it's not in the body. Body expresses, but I feel the pain. So that is how I know the existence of the soul, even though I cannot see. Say I eat something, I say this is sweet. Who felt the sweetness? Or something we eat, we say, oh, this is sour. And it's expressed on our face also. So, but the one who felt the sweetness or the sour is the soul.
Okay.
The existence of that energy. When you touch something hot, you immediately pull your hands away from it. But when I leave my body, they burn this body, I don't feel anything. Because the body doesn't have any feeling without the existence of the soul. So that is how I know.
Practicing that I'm a soul means that I'm just aware that I'm a thinking being. I'm the being that has those emotions, happiness, sorrow.
And I can control them. I can create the kind of feelings I want. I can control my emotions. You know, I can control my desires. You know, so it's not that they have to control me. So I master my mind. This is something very interesting. You know, you master your mind by disciplining your mind. No, that discipline, that mastery comes when the intellect is awakened.
And now it makes sense for me, because if I feel that I'm a soul who is the master, then yes, I'm responsible for the thoughts and the feelings that I create.
That's why I was telling you earlier, thoughts are inevitable.
Yes.
But thinking is optional. The more I realize I am a soul, this realization leads to the right judgments. So then I think right type of thoughts, you know. So that is wisdom. You know, thinking is common, but to think right and to do the right things at the right time is wisdom.
Quite often they say that it is all the function of our brain, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, that our mind and our brain are basically the same thing.
No, it's
or
not
our mind
the same.
is the function of our brain.
No, brain is only controlling room.
Okay.
The operator is the soul. And one of the faculties under operation is the mind. So we should not misunderstand brain to be not separate from the mind. Brain is part of the body. You know, even the brain works on the basis of the presence of the soul. We have heard people in coma for so many years and all of a sudden they become normal. So what happened during that time? They are not dead, but they are not alive. So what is happening there? The soul is in the body, but it is not connected. You know, it is the nerves of the brain are not connected with the soul. So the energy of it resides in the center of the forehead, which is just below the hypothalamus.
The soul.
The soul, the energy, it lies just below the hypothalamus, which is part of the brain. When due to some reason, accident or sickness, the nerves have disconnected from hypothalamus. And so the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system is disturbed. And so the soul is not feeling anything.
Okay.
Otherwise, if the soul is not connected with the nerves, because there is a connection of the hypothalamus with the whole system of the body. So that is why you find that, you know, when people die, anything happens to other parts of the body, they are alive. But something happens to the brain, so there is a danger. Because that is where the soul, the energy of the body is located. And so that is why it is very important to understand that the brain is not the mind. Mind is totally separate from the brain. It is just the controlling room.
So the mind is the faculty of
the soul. And brain is part of the body.
Okay, and brain is part
controlling
of the body.
room of the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because that distinction is important.
Yes.
And I was wondering about another expression that is often being used, peace of mind. People say that I wish to experience peace of mind. Normally they don't say about happiness of mind or love of mind. Is there anything special about this quality of peace? Why is it connected with our mind so often?
See, mind is connected with thoughts. We already spoke about it.
Yes.
It's the power of thought, it's the mind. So when my thoughts' power is negative, I lose my peace. So when my thoughts are positive, I feel the peace. Because peace is the nature of the soul. And when I have the awareness of myself as a soul, I have positive thoughts, and so I feel the peace. So that is why I always say, peace of mind is one thought away, just one thought. It's not far away. How? When you change your consciousness from having the consciousness of me as a body into soul consciousness, you feel peace. Peace is not far away, it's just one thought away. You know, when you are aware of yourself as a soul, peace is in the soul. But the moment I forget that I am that energy, the soul, my mind is separated from me. It means it's controlling me.
If I just count the amount of time I'm peaceful throughout the day and the amount of time I'm peaceless, and you say that my nature is peace, sometimes I can have doubts about that, because we can remain peaceful for some time, but then we have situations, we have stresses, we have deadlines and so on, and then we remain peaceless most of the time.
Consciousness changes very fast. From soul consciousness, real consciousness, into body consciousness.
But that is real. Peace is real.
Yeah, peace is real. Okay. That is why we seek for peace. If I have not tasted something, I would not run after it, isn't it? My nature is peace. I have lost it because of my wrong identity, I would say. So that's why I am craving for it again. So sometimes we are peaceful, and most of the time we are peaceless because we are now we have forgotten who we are really, and that lack of self-awareness has made us into peacelessness. So if I want to bring the broken pieces together and make peace, I have to return to my original self.
I understand. Then if I'm craving for peace, it means that I'm craving for something which is natural for me.
Yeah, nobody would say, I want peacelessness.
No.
It comes to me because I have lost that original, authentic nature of who I am. In order to feel peace, I have to return to myself again and again.
Can you give us some practical tip of how do you personally practice that? Peace of mind? What is sort of an exercise, or what is the pattern of thinking that can be used to reactivate that lost nature of ourselves?
One exercise I usually practice is like stand back, observe and steer. So let the thoughts move on the screen of your mind naturally. Don't suppress them, don't resist. Observe them. When you observe your thoughts, they slow down slowly. Okay. And then you select a few thoughts out of them and direct your mind in that direction. Slowly by doing this exercise, the speed of your thoughts will slow down, and only good thoughts, positive thoughts will be left in your mind, and then you can create more of those thoughts. so that your mind is filled with those positive vibrations. So where there is positivity, there is peace.
Sister Mira, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. And I hope every one of us enjoyed that. We started talking today about understanding our mind and why our mind sometimes becomes peaceless. And we understood that our mind is a faculty of a conscient being, which is called a soul. And our soul, we souls, we have our mind, or our capacity to think and feel, our intellect, or our capacity to take decisions, and we have our subconscious mind, or our memories. And it is all a question of having a dialogue between our mind and intellect that can lead us to peace of mind. So we are looking forward for the next episode in this series, and this episode will be dedicated to the art of positive thinking. Till then, take care and goodbye.